Hello, this is Dr. Prentiss Taylor from Doctor on Demand. We're sharing with you today part 3 in our series of short webinars on the subject of COVID-19 vaccines. And this one is on a refresher on viral vector vaccines. We hope you've had a chance to look at part 1 and part 2 already. And we're doing this one on April 15th of 2021. And information may change later. So briefly about me, I'm Vice President of Medical Affairs here at Doctor on Demand. I'm an internal medicine, preventive medicine board certified physician. This just shows you a little bit about where I've done my training, and we want to get into the meat of this. So we're all talking today about the viral vector vaccines. And by that, we mean that there are two different types of vaccines that are used to treat this pandemic. There are mRNA vaccines, which stands for messenger RNA, and that's a new technology of the vaccines where the messenger RNA is injected into your shoulder, the muscle cells there, and it is a little code that goes to the outside of the cells and convinces what are called ribosomes, little protein factories that are naturally there in all our cells, to make the spike protein that's on the surface of the virus. That generates an immune response that generates both antibodies and activated white blood cells called T cells that go out looking for the virus to kill it and clear it from our system. Now, shots like the Johnson & Johnson vaccine are what we call viral vector vaccines. These are an older technology that's the same as the traditional flu shot. So these are DNA vaccines which do fuse with our genetic material in the nucleus of our muscle cells. And they convince your DNA to produce the antibodies. So they do the same thing the flu shots do, which look for proteins on the surface of the flu vaccines, but this one is targeted towards the COVID. So the research on these viral vector vaccines goes back more than 50 years. These vaccines act like a delivery shuttle to bring a harmless version of the virus into the body to make this antigen protein. So the antigen means that spike protein in this situation that's on the surface of the virus. What I want to emphasize here, so you know it, is that these viruses have been specially treated so that the shuttle doesn't cause any kind of disease in our body. And these vaccines have been used for many different types of viruses in the past, such as the Zika virus, flu, and others. And it does not affect or alter our DNA in any kind of a bad way. So like I want to emphasize, these have been used for about a half a century, and they haven't caused any genetic defects, birth defects, or anything like that, and have been extensively studied in millions of people. Now, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is very attractive because it's a single shot and it's very potent in terms of its effectiveness. I just told you how it works and has the same sorts of side effects in the vast majority of people that you see with the other COVID-19 vaccines. In other words, some muscle soreness can occur, or you can get a flu-like reaction with tiredness, headache, muscle pain, but this is not the real flu. It's just generally short-lived in people, and if people take some Tylenol or take some ibuprofen, that treats that, and people usually recover within a day from those side effects. So those side effects don't put the vast majority of people into the hospital. So the effectiveness at preventing COVID-19 is slightly lower with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, but what various experts point out is that they have been emphasizing get the first vaccine that's available to you. Now, as of this week in April, as you may be aware, the Food and Drug Administration and the Centers for Disease Control have put a temporary halt to people getting the J&J vaccine, this type of vaccine, because there have been some reports of serious side effects in just 6 people out of 6 million people who have gotten this vaccine thus far. So that will be studied extensively. My own opinion about that is I think that the committee that is studying this, the expert committee, is probably going to put the J&J vaccine, the one-shot vaccine, back out on the market, but with a list of cautions. For example, let's say people who had blood clotting problems in the past shouldn't take it. But we'll see what they come up with. So we'll all be learning about this, and the science continues to evolve. The key takeaways that we want to emphasize is that based on the latest guidelines, please take the COVID vaccine that is first offered to you. That is going to be the key thing, because what we're trying to do is prevent hospitalizations and deaths. One of the take-home messages I like to cover with people that there's an expert that points out that if you took 150,000 Americans and you divided them into two groups, 75,000 who get these shots and 75,000 who don't get these shots, that based on the statistics we have, the first group is going to be protected. But of the 75,000 people who didn't get the shots, 150 of them are going to die. And we also know that even more people in that group are going to get seriously ill. And many of those people who get seriously ill are going to end up being hospitalized. All of that can be prevented with these shots, at least the ones that are currently approved as of the week that you will be getting them offered to you. So overall, we want to let you know these shots protect you. They protect you from infecting other people in our community, and they help us get back to our normal lives of, at some point in the future, achieving herd immunity and being able to not be as concerned about masks and social distancing. As you've probably heard, they've allowed people who are fully immunized to get together with other people who are fully immunized for social celebrations within one household. And that's something that a lot of people have greatly been getting used to, or looking forward to, I should say. A lot of people have been looking forward to within family groupings. So we hope this has answered some questions for you. And we're going to go on to part 4 of answering some FAQs, some frequently asked questions. This is Dr. Prentiss Taylor from Doctor on Demand, and we thank you for joining us today.